So you are joining the More Titanic Lies series, and in this video I'd like to speculate as to the number one reason why the hoax of the Titanic was performed on the stage of false history.
People remember the Titanic not only because of the epic drama and the terrible loss of life, but because it changed us forevermore. It continues to fascinate because it reminds us of the fallibility of human genius. It revealed the flaws that define our humanity, and it also reminded us that nature rules. That our greatest machines, our most complex technologies, must always, in the end, humble themselves before nature. And finally, the saga of the Titanic reminds us that there is no such thing as a totally safe passage. Whether that voyage is to a Caribbean isle or to Jupiter, there will always be the rogue storm, the iceberg, the lee shore, the uncharted reef, the asteroid field, the stray meteor, the black hole. From mankind's first tentative forays beyond the ocean shore to the last voyage toward the stars, there will always be an element of danger.
Okay, my speculation is there will be no such thing as the safe passage. Now, at the time, 1912, immigration was at its height, and basically there were no restrictions on immigration into the United States. The only thing I can think of comes from my own personal life and personal family life. My grandfather came over on the Carpathia long before the Titanic hoax. In other words, it was a passenger ship that brought immigrants to the United States, and he came over before 1912. Now, my father told me that his father was required to have sponsors in the United States. In other words, individuals who would look after this individual who came over from Europe and was trying to establish himself in America. Now, I'm not sure if the sponsorship was related to immigration or to citizenship. However, my father was very clear in letting me know that his father came over because he had sponsors in the United States. In other words, a family that would look after the immigrant for a period of years, perhaps until citizenship. I'm not sure. I'm unclear as to what was going on there. But they did mention in this documentary that basically there were no restrictions on immigration to the United States in the era of the Titanic hoax, which means the implication is that those who are snooty and filled with pride have this concept of, they call people useless eaters. They call normal, regular, ordinary folks goyim, or people, just people of the land that are not in their Kabbalah system. And if there are too many of them, it's threatening to them. A prime example in Holy Bible is in ancient Egypt. When the Israelites were down in Egypt first under Joseph, they numbered 70. 70. Now, no one knows for sure exactly how many left Egypt, but an estimate would be about 2 million, including wives and children. The Bible, I does believe, give a number regarding the males, but not a total number. So if you think about it, in ancient Egypt, they went from about 70 to maybe 2 million. And that was way too many for Pharaoh. So in a sense, the very same thing took place in the United States. Those who happily controlled everything were threatened by the large number of immigrants, and the Titanic hoax would scare the bejeebers out of them in Europe, not wanting to come over, not wanting to risk travel across the Atlantic. In other words, there was no other way to get to the United States except by an ocean liner. Okay, no other means of transportation. The air transportation was not yet developed, and the only way you were going to get from Europe to the United States was a steamer ship. So if you could eliminate the concept of getting on a steamer ship and coming to the United States, then it would greatly reduce the number of immigrants. However, in one of my other videos in the series called The Titanic Lies, now this series is called More Titanic Lies, I did pull up some charts to try to investigate, was this successful? Did they really scare off the immigrants? And it appeared to me not really. It appeared to me it didn't accomplish that. Now, the reason I'm focusing in on this is because it seems at the conclusion of this series of 4 or 5 DVDs on the Titanic, they are suggesting that travel or transportation was the #1 reason for pulling off the hoax. And you can see with the space shuttle, they're also alluding to the so-called Challenger disaster, which was a fake. Incidentally, all the people on Challenger 1 were on the second one as well. They died twice. Anyhow, yeah, transportation and scaring the bejeebers out of people. Now, they do this quite frequently to us in terms of air travel. They hoax air disasters and planes blowing up in the sky and planes taken in the New York stupid thing with the pilot that landed the plane in the Hudson River and all that to scare the bejeebers out of you. So you don't want to travel anywhere. And incidentally, they're working towards that type of concept whereby people will be confined within a locality and maybe only be permitted to travel, say, 50, 60 miles. They're working on that to try to confine us by their cons. Anyhow, let me finish this. Thank you for listening to me.
We probably wouldn't go.
Okay, so there you have it, people. It's all about transportation hoaxing so that people do not want to travel. And they probably were not successful in that time period, but we can just relax and say, you know what, if you want to travel, just go ahead and travel. Don't worry a thing about it. Don't let none of this nonsense get to you, okay? Because it's all nonsense. Titanic was nonsense. Okay, everything they tell you about it was nonsense. But because people are subject to hypnosis and witchcraft, it becomes a reality in their brain. And everybody's like, remember the Titanic, remember the Maine, remember Pearl Harbor. And that's why the dude, Walter Lord, who's a very demonic individual, had his book called A Night to Remember. Well, how about A Night to Forget, okay? Forget it all. It was all a hoax. I'd like to say this is the last video on Titanic, but I'm on such a roll. I'll probably have more. At the point of creating this video, I think totally I have about 56 videos on Titanic, and that includes my other series on the channel, Village Prisoner Set Free. I'd like to thank you for watching, and those of you that comment, I really want to thank you, because when I get comments, it allows me to be inspired to continue on. If I don't hear from people, I get lackadaisical, I get lethargic, I don't really want to do much, because I don't think anybody's listening. So when you say, I'm listening, guess what? That really helps me. Thank you, and blessings to you. In Jesus Christ our Lord, to Him be praise, honor, and glory, and may He destroy every Titanic hoax that the devil puts in front of your mind and my mind. End of video.